everyone, and happy Monday. Today is May 13th, 2024, and I have Sheree Wertz here with me today. Super excited, not only for us to see each other because we haven't seen each other in a long time, but I'm always amazed when she talks about your mouth and how your whole health, like everything starts in your mouth. And I'm just like, that's so crazy. I don't think we've ever been taught that. And Sheree is an orofacial myofunctional therapist. We're going to tell you what that is in a minute. And she's also a Burst ambassador at Burst Oral Care. Sheree, welcome to today's Member Monday Spotlight.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And it is always good to see you.
Okay, you have to tell us, what is an orofacial myofunctional therapist?
Yes, a really long word that nobody knows what it is. So it's basically physical therapist for your mouth and the muscles of your mouth. And, we separate our mouth from the rest of our body. It has its own insurance, which has been crazy to me always. And when I went to hygiene school, I was taught you needed to brush, floss, use a fluoride toothpaste, and see your dentist twice a year, and that would prevent cavities. Well, I've been doing this for over 35 years, and cavities are still the number one preventable childhood disease. So obviously, it's more than just that. And my daughter was wetting the bed. I was told she would outgrow it, and she didn't outgrow it. She grew into different problems, and she wore braces 3 times. I'm a dental hygienist. Her dad was a dentist. Her grandfather was an orthodontist. We were not taught that how your tongue functions affects how you grow and develop, how you breathe, how you behave, how you sleep, everything. So that's why I talk about being the owner of your health, because we didn't know this. And if I didn't know this, and I'm a dental professional, how many people don't know this? So I became passionate about that, because if I knew what I knew, I would have been able to help her at age 2 instead of waiting until she was 13 and going through a social crisis and an embarrassing bedwetting situation. And adults are growing up needing CPAP machines, all because of how their tongue functions and how they grow and developed and how they breathe because of that. Short.
Okay, so tell us what that means, how your tongue functions. What does that mean? What do we need to know about our own mouth, our own body, our own tongue, and how it sits in our mouth? What is that about? Explain
So
that.
our tongue should be on the roof of our mouth, always suctioned. 24/7, not down, not floating. So if you're just sitting and watching this, where is your tongue right now? Is it floating? Is it down on your lower teeth? Because we swallow 800 to 2,000 times a day. And when your tongue goes forward on your teeth, form follows function. So it can actually change the way your teeth look. If you bite your teeth together and you have an open bite or a cross bite, or your teeth don't kind of fit together, that usually is because your tongue is not functioning correctly. And when you swallow, it moves those teeth, which then can affect your airway and breathing. So before the agricultural revolution, we nursed our kids till they were 3 or 5 years old. And if you couldn't nurse, you died, right? You couldn't breathe, you couldn't feed. So now we have bottles, but we suck with different muscles. So instead of having this nice jawline like Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, we look kind of retronathic, because now our tongue is down because of how we're sucking. We're not chewing as much. We used to chew 4 or 5 hours a day. Now we smash our foods. We eat softer processed foods. We don't chew as much. So when your tongue is on the roof of your mouth, your arch grows wider. The floor of your nasal sinus is the roof of your mouth. When your tongue is up and you grow wider, you have a place for your tongue, and your airway passages are wider, and so is the tube down to your airway. When you have your tongue low, your cheek pressure just creates more crowded teeth. And then it almost feels like your tongue is too big for your mouth. And you can do exercises for your kids when they're younger and use their growth and development, instead of waiting until they're 7 or 8 years old. And now you have to crank it open, or when you're an adult like us, you have to have surgery to make that wider to keep your tongue up and have your teeth go over. And it affects everything: how much oxygen you get, how you sleep, how you chew, how you function, how you sleep. So it really does start from the mouth down.
Wow. Like right when you said that, I was like, where's my tongue? Put it on the roof of my mouth. And then as soon as you said swallow, I swallowed. So I know whoever's watching this video is doing all these exact same actions to start really understanding that. And so I asked that question because I still have grandchildren that are of the age that they are all potty trained, but they're still wearing pull-ups at night because they're wetting the bed. So that, I mean, I just totally forgot about that, of that basics that you had taught us and how important it is. So did you write a book on this? Is this something that did you write a book on this exact same thing, or did you write a book on something different?
So I have a book coming out that I'm one of the collaborators. It comes
Okay.
out on Thursday, so it's available on Amazon now. Plan the life you love and live it out loud. And my chapter is being the owner of your health. And for me, owner is oxygen, water, nutrition, enough sleep, and respecting the one body you get. And you have to meet your basic needs, which are those things. We can live without food for 3 weeks. We can live without oxygen and sleep, or we can live without water and sleep for 3 days, but we can't live without oxygen for more than 6 minutes. So I talk about how we need to meet our basic needs, and we're not doing that. And what I said, how it could help my daughter. So we think it's really cute when kids are 2 and 3 years old and their baby teeth are completely straight. But baby teeth should have spaces between them, a nickel or a dime between them. My daughters didn't, they were touching. I now know that if your infant or child look like that and their teeth are together, they're going to grow up and have airway breathing problems, probably wetting the bed, behavior problems, be diagnosed with
Wow.
ADHD. And ADHD and sleep disordered breathing have the identical symptoms. If your child is sleep deprived, they're going to be hyperactive and have bad behavior, but they can't tell you they're sleep deprived. So as parents, when we're sleep deprived because we have
Mm.
sleep deprived kids, you know how hard it is to function. Now think about your kids that aren't breathing. If they sleep with their butt up in the air, if they're wetting the bed, these are all your body compensating to get more oxygen.
That is crazy. I mean, everything that you're saying is what every single one of us can relate to somewhere in our life. Or, I mean, I know I've actually been in front of you physically and we've had this conversation, because I'm like, well, look at my mouth, look at where my tongue is. What, I don't have any breathing problems at night. I sleep really well. But I don't, I mean, I'm thinking of all my grandkids. What do their teeth look like? Are there spaces between them? So anyone watching this that has children or grandchildren, I hope you're thinking like, I got to go look at my kids' teeth when they get home from school today. And are they spaced out? So what do you suggest that adults or parents do it at this moment when they realize, like, yeah, I don't keep my tongue on the top of my mouth. My children do have bedwetting issues. What am I supposed to do? Is it the book that they purchase that's going to help them understand that? Do they start there? Should they reach out to you on LinkedIn? Should they go to your website? Tell me, what would you suggest is really the best way for someone to know, what am I supposed to do when, now that you're telling me all of this, I'm like, oh my gosh. Thank you. I mean, this is a real life problem here. These are real life problems.
It is a real life problem, and we have a gap that we're not helping kids. We traditional orthodontists say wait till you lose all your baby teeth till 7 or up. So a lot of these kids are suffering and they don't even realize they're suffering, or they're going to have problems. And so I would recommend. I have a free 15-minute consultation. You can just click and get on that. It doesn't cost anything. We can talk about the symptoms that you're having, what you're concerned about. I have a YouTube channel. I have a podcast where I talk about these things and interview different people that can help. I was just strictly talking about the mouth, but now I'm starting to talk about oxygen and water and sleep and bring some other experts on besides me, because so many people are having these problems, but they don't know it. And so I say, if you have any of these symptoms, if your kids have any of these symptoms, let's talk and see, should we do something about it? Sometimes like you, Colleen, you said you don't have any of those issues. So I start with, can you breathe? Can you breathe through your nose? I have people take their phone and just do like this. And you can see if the air is coming out on your phone when it's dark, out both sides. Or do a test, or hold water in your mouth for 3 minutes and see, can you breathe through your nose with holding the water? Because if you can't breathe through your nose without opening your mouth, then that's an airway issue. And we need to see an
Oh.
ENT. So I'll send you to an ENT first. And sometimes it's a collaboration. Myofunctional therapy has 4 goals: tongue on the roof of your mouth, lips together, breathe through your nose, and correct swallow, meaning your tongue goes up and not forward on your teeth. And I see a lot of people who have seen speech pathologists for 3 and 5 years. They work with speech, but they don't work with the function of the tongue and understand how the muscles work. So there's a gap for dental hygienists and for speech pathologists in that group that only some people know. Some dentists know about it, some dentists don't. So, you know, you have to find a provider that knows about airway and breathing.
Yeah. Wow. Like my brain is blown, which I think a lot of people watching are like, this is so much information. So I just say start with just getting connected with Sheree, asking her some of the questions, telling her what's going on with your kids or your grandkids or your own physical body, or maybe a spouse or a partner, right? And you could do that at ShereeWertz.com. So that's very easy to do. Tell me a little bit about Shift, because you talked with me earlier before we got on about Shift, and you've got something that you've created for individuals that are on your website, and you're offering them to save $50 today. So tell me what that's about.
So I created the shift method and it's got 167 modules in there. A little overwhelming, but what it does is it's simple habit incentives for transformation. So it's simple action steps you can do talking about each of these things to breathe better, to sleep better, to function better. And your diet. Your diet plays a huge role in what's happening in our body. And like I said, we're not meeting those basic needs. So I'm trying to shift people's thinking because it starts with what do you believe? How do you breathe? And what you put in your mouth, it affects the rest of your body. So your gut microbiome, we talk a lot about that, but it starts in the mouth. Digestion starts as soon as you smell the food and your saliva glands start producing enzymes that help with digestion. So if your mouth's not healthy, the rest of you is not going to be healthy. If you're not using your nose to breathe, you're not going to be healthy. Your nose warms, filters, humidifies the oxygen that you breathe, and you get 18% more oxygen to your brain and body when you breathe through your nose. When you mouth breathe at night, you lose 40% of your water. So Americans are oxygen deprived, are dehydrated, are sleep deprived, and if as long as we stay on the perimeter of the grocery store, we're healthy. But if you eat all those processed foods, you're not going to be healthy. So it's shifting that mindset. So you don't have to follow all 167 modules. You can go to wherever you are because it walks through what owner means to me, taking care of you, and then like 0 to 6 months, how to take care of yourself as a pregnant mom, like before you get pregnant, when you're pregnant. Now you have a baby. What do you need to look for 0 to 6 months, 6 months to 3 months? So I break it out your whole entire life span of what's happening because we're living longer, but we have a shorter health span and we're spending our wealth that we're so busy accumulating, getting our health back. So
I love that you said that.
my goal is to help with prevention and teach our kids better habits because we learn
Yeah.
from our parents. You know, the foods that we eat, how we brush our teeth, we learn from generations. And it's taken 3 generations to create this unhealthy system that we have because of our food choices. It's going to take 3 generations to get back to being able to breathe better and live healthier lives. So that's
Yeah.
where I start. I start with what do you need to know? What do I wish that I had known? And I'm just putting it all in there. So it will continue to grow as I learn. My solo book is actually going to be released in January of 2025, and it will go along with this. So right now I'm creating the shift method, and then all of that will go based on the feedback I get. So I didn't want to publish the book until I know more what people actually need because there is so much information. And I was working just with the mouth, but then I realized that it's connected, and we don't talk enough about that because our healthcare system, it treats symptoms and it gives you a pill, but then that pill treats this symptom, but it doesn't get to the root cause, and then it creates other symptoms. So I'm trying to prevent that just based on my own experience with cancer. And they give you this pill for this, and then they give you 3 more pills to contradict that. And I went off all pills because of all of this in breathing and holistic and all the people that I've met. So all of those people are in that shift method that can help you find the people so you can sleep better, live better, and just have a better quality life.
I love it. Michelle on Facebook today said, thanks for making us smarter. And then she also said, we all need to be advocates for our health, right? We can't just expect a doctor to tell us everything. We need to be the advocates. So here's what I would suggest for everyone. Just get started by going to ShereeWertz.com, connecting with Sheree on LinkedIn. I'm going to have all of these links here at your fingertips. Go to Amazon to purchase one of her books. And if you really are ready to dive in, for the shift method. You can save 50 by using the code SAVE50 at shereewertz.com/shift. But I'm highly going to recommend that you start at shereewertz.com or go to LinkedIn and start messaging Sheree so that you can get on a call with her to really understand what your next steps are. And as I'm thinking about it, it's like, I breathe through my nose every night when I sleep, and I sleep very soundly. And if I am stuffy because of cold or something, then I have to breathe out of my mouth. I never get a good night's sleep. And then now I'm thinking, I hear my husband and he breathes out of his mouth. When I watch him, when I hear him, he's breathing out of his mouth. So right there, we already know what's happening, right? So this is very informational, Sheree. And I just really love bringing you on here because we do need to be advocates for our health. Thank you, Michelle, for mentioning that. We do need to be advocates. So what are you doing to be an advocate for your health? A lot of these issues that we have can be solved by just practices that you need to do for yourself without having to go to a doctor or use an app for a doctor. Just have the conversation with Sheree. Go to shereewertz.com. And I'm going to make sure I post all these links, Sheree, so everyone has them available. So if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, wherever you're watching this video, scroll down to the comment sections and click on those links. You can get to her very quickly and schedule a call. I know that she's got a wealth of information just that you heard in 15 minutes today. Imagine if you had a 15-minute call just about you or your child and what was going on and the help that you needed that she could supply for you. So, Sheree, thank you for being a member of the LEAP community. Thank you for coming here today. This is huge.
Thank you. Thanks for creating the LEAP community. It's amazing. And it's amazing to be a part of these wonderful women that are in this group, because you know what, as moms, we don't put ourselves first. We kind of think self-care is selfish, but you're your greatest asset and you can't pour from an empty cup. So I am passionate about putting yourself first, looking at what your health is and doing something about it. And like Michelle said, being your own healthcare advocate. And I appreciate you creating this so we can all share the knowledge we have with one another.
Yeah. So 2 things. You definitely need to be on the podcast if you haven't scheduled that already. So let's get you scheduled for the podcast. And the second thing is you need to teach a masterclass in the community about this. So I will make sure when we're done with our live video today, I provide you those links, but you definitely need to do that. So thank you everyone for being here today. Sheree is absolutely amazing. We all love her. Thank you, Sheree, for being fantastic and leading the way for us to be advocates for our own health. And to all of you out there, have a wonderful rest of your week. And don't forget, be you and be strong. We'll see you again sometime soon. Bye-bye for now.